We're just going to wait for a few more minutes, I think.
And I wonder if, since we have such a small group this time, if we could introduce ourselves more formally. We didn't get a chance yesterday, but we'll certainly do that when we start too.
Okay.
Let me know when you're ready, Patrick.
We could start, I think, get some announcements out of the way and and then go from there.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for our 1:45 session. It's a critical problem solvers. This is part 2. I'm going to have, since it's a small group, each one of the members here can introduce themselves. However, I just want to make a quick just housekeeping item, which is the sketches form was already emailed earlier by Kelly. If you log on to the main page of HOVA, it's in the middle of the page. It says the sketches form. It just basically, it's like a survey, ask you what sessions you've attended. It's pretty quick. It literally took me maybe 2 minutes and it submits. So if you haven't done that, and if you need the sketches, go ahead and do that, please. And please go back and rate the sessions you've attended. This really helps us, for the next time we plan sessions and for like our conference committee. It's very important to have that feedback. It really helps us, just your honest, raw feedback. And then like I said, it's a smaller group. So I'm going to turn it over to Patrick so he can make the introductions. Some of my favorite people are presenting today. So Patrick, take it away.
Thank you, Maha. And I'm Patrick Brown, Director of McKay. Know many of you. Good to see so many familiar faces and some new ones as well. And I have a wonderful colleague and friend, Joy Zug. Joy, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm the coordinator for Royal Oak Schools, and I'm very hands-on in our medium-sized program, and I do everything from the budget and the grant management to enrolling students. So I'm busy.
In her spare time, she also does a lot for OK, which is the Oakland County Association there for adult and community education. So Joy is a busy lady. So thank you, Joy. And this was really Joy's brainchild. We'll kind of just recap where we started this conversation for those that might have not been with us yesterday, and we'll forge ahead. But we also have two, what we're calling critical friends. They're both friends, but also just very knowledgeable in a variety of different topics. And that is Sister Janice Brown. Would you like to introduce yourself, Sister Janice?
Sure. I am the director for Siena Literacy Center on the northwest side of town. And as Patrick said, I'm Sister Janice Brown, and I'm happy to be with you this afternoon.
Exactly. And the town she's talking about is Detroit, just a little old Detroit,
I'm from Detroit.
In Southeast Michigan. Yes.
Very close to you, Joy. I didn't realize you were just in Royal Oak.
Mr. Bob Steed, familiar face, back again to help us out.
Thank you, Patrick. Bob Steed. I'm a retired community ed director from Novi Community School District and also past president of McKay. And it's great to be a part of the conference and to be able to reconnect with some old friends and make some new friends. So great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you, Sister Janice. So kind of wanted to just bring you back to our conversations. We've got some new faces on this afternoon and some returning faces from yesterday. Really wanted to ground and center our conversation. How many of you were with us yesterday, just by a show of hands or by a chat? Nicole was with us yesterday, and maybe that might be it. Dominic, I can't remember if Dominic was with us yesterday. Mike was with us yesterday. Great. All right, so that may change our perspective a little bit. So what I wonder if we might do then, I'm going to maybe change it up a little bit here based on that. I wonder if we could have our returners, if we could have them go and kind of debrief from yesterday and the situation or part that they work through. And then I wonder if we could stay here in the main room and kind of work through with some of our new folks, some of the process that we went through yesterday and introduce that idea for them. I think that might work pretty well. What do you guys think, Bob and Joyce?
I think so too. I think it might be it'd be great to hear from. So is anybody with any of those people from Plainwell? Because they really
I
took
thought that I saw maybe Heidi come in. I don't see anyone, but I thought maybe she had popped in for a second.
Okay. But yeah, I think that's a good start with the ones that were here yesterday and see what they came away with.
Joy, I wonder if you could share the document in the chat with us so that,
Sure.
and then I wonder if I can break up Bob into a breakout room with Nicole and Mike and maybe kind of debrief from yesterday, what kind of the conversation was. And then we can have maybe Sister and I'm happy to join as well with Bob in that group. And then maybe Joy and Sister Janice could stay here and kind of start afresh, anew. And then I think we could bring our main group back together here in about a half hour or so.
Okay. Patrick, I can't share so I don't know if you want to say, I don't have sound to play the video from yesterday.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So let's relook at that before we break.
Okay.
Apologies. My internet is just a little slow.
Yeah, my apologies to my district. For some reason, configured my computer to not share sound on these things. So it's a kind of a handicap.
This is kind of a refresh. And for those of you that are new, we'll kind of break this down a little bit. But in this session and in this problem solver session, what we're trying to do is really help programs, and especially you all in your different roles and positions, really think through maybe one critical challenge that you feel that your program is facing. And in many of our different professional development settings, especially in this virtual environment, it's just really hard to do that. I mean, you know, it especially as of late, it seems like we just zoom in for an informational meeting and then zoom right back out again. You know, and an hour later, and suddenly we're on to the next meeting with little time to really synthesize information and process it. And so we felt, well, if we're going to have an opportunity at the conference to be able to already have dedicated time to think about some of these critical issues, why not create a space, a session to really get people thinking and problem solving? So I'm going to reshare this video about a model that we're introducing. This is a multi-step process, and we're very aware of that. Certainly, we're not trying to solve all of the world's problems in a 1-hour session at the McKay Virtual Conference. But I think it's important that we're taking the time, and you all are taking the time to maybe identify one critical challenge that you're finding facing your program or your participants, and then really kind of setting into motion a conversation around that. So I just want to, this is going to be a refresher for those of you that joined yesterday, kind of a new concept again for those that are joining today.
Data is everywhere. No, really, you use it in your everyday life. You collect, analyze, and act upon data when you do anything, from handling your household budget, counting calories in your diet, or figuring out the ideal time to leave for work. So, if data is everywhere and you interact with it daily, why is this culture a recurrent theme in healthcare settings? And how can we turn that culture into this one? The simple fact is, you can't ignore data when trying to improve the quality of healthcare. Data is an essential part of our work. It shows us what needs to improve and whether or not specific actions are helping make these improvements. Don't know where to start? Why not start with the logic model? The logic model helps you determine what data you need, how you're going to collect it, and what the data is going to tell you. It's like a roadmap, an overview snapshot of what you're doing, and a great first step toward creating a new positive relationship with data. Let's work through an example. First, ask yourself, what are your short and long-term goals? Then, fill in the rest of the diagram with the information you already know: inputs, outputs, assumptions, and external factors. Inputs are what you invest, like staffing, funding, equipment, and technology. Outputs are the activities you're doing and whom you're doing them for. Assumptions are what you already know. And external factors are things that are out of your control, like organizational changes and environmental factors. Don't feel like you have enough information to start? The logic model helps you identify the data you need and tells you what's missing so you can figure out how to fill in the gaps. Feel like you have too much data and don't know what to do with it all? The logic model helps you organize and prioritize the data to avoid overcollection. Feel like you can't do it alone? No problem. To make the greatest impact, an organization should collaboratively develop and use logic models at all levels and staff positions for a shared sense of ownership and accountability. And the best part about logic models, they're flexible and evolving. You can create your logic model based on your current understanding and then revise it as you go along. Say your organization wants to improve staff retention. This is what your logic model might look like. Again, inputs are what we invest. Outputs are what we are doing. And outcomes are our goals. Assumptions are existing knowledge. And external factors are things that might matter, but we can't control. In a struggling healthcare culture, data is everywhere, but nobody knows what to do with it. The team that takes the time to create a culture shift around embracing data, using the logic model as a guide, builds a stronger value proposition, which in the end is better for business and patients and residents. What kind of data culture do you want to create?
So Joy and I really like that video just because it kind of walks through a step-by-step process of a really, articulate issue, some of the root causes and challenges. And oftentimes, especially in the spaces that we work, for lack of better words, sometimes we kind of get stuck in it on repeat with some of our conversations. And part of that is we never get to really fully delve into the root causes and issues of that and then move forward into solution-based outcomes. And so that's going to be a part of the work that we did today. We did yesterday with a couple of folks. For those of you that are new, you'll do today. And then kind of hopefully move past that and to be able to kind of look and really identify what are some resources, some links, some, just really specific targeted supports that we can put in place to really identify the challenges that you have particularly for your program, and hopefully walk away and solve that or have a plan to kind of find some resolution over the next few months or the next year. So I'm gonna stop sharing here. So what? Yeah, go ahead, Joy.
Something I'd like maybe the group that was here yesterday, something I'd like you to do is to go ahead and do maybe that gallery walk and put comments on the spreadsheet for Plainwell and whatever group 2 was, in case they want to come back to it. I think those comments would be helpful. So if somebody already did the work yesterday and they're in your group, maybe you could just comment on the other groups' logic models, and if you know of any articles or resources that might be in that area, you could post them on comments on there.
Right. So we will take that task, Joy. So now what we will do is Bob and I will break off and go into a workroom for those of us that are returning from yesterday. And Joy and Sister Janice will kind of start, we've already kind of given you the quick intro, but maybe start beginning that process again with you all. And we'll kind of go from there, and then we'll reconvene towards the close of the session to kind of wrap up our conversation. Sound good?
Yeah, good. Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm going to create a breakout room, and only the individuals from yesterday will be going to that breakout room. So I'm going to call us the returners just so that we don't get confused. And so myself is going to go into that room. I believe that Mike's going to go there, as well as Bob is going to go there, and Nicole. Anybody else a returner from yesterday that I'm missing? No? All right. Well, we'll see you back here soon, Joy and Sister Janice. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
I'm here, but not here.
Okay.
How are you
Hi,
there, Mike?
Patrick.